Julius Caesar is renowned for its exploration of power, yet at its heart is an examination of language and rhetoric. Shakespeare shows us in many different ways the power of the spoken word to persuade, move, and transform.
Today, I'm joined by Bell Shakespeare's Artistic Director, Peter Evans, and Professor David McInnes to discuss the power of words in Julius Caesar.
And what better way to do so than taking a look at the text in Shakespeare's second folio, thought to be one of only 250 copies still in existence.
Wow.
Yes. That beautiful cover they put on it.
So this is Shakespeare's second folio from the Leaper Library at Trinity College here at the University of Melbourne. So this is the copy that was printed in 1632.
And this, of course, is the only copy we have. It's the folio copy, isn't it?
That's right. So Caesar doesn't appear in any other single text editions during Shakespeare's lifetime. It first appears in 1623 in the first folio.
And I don't think there are any changes between the first and second.
No, it gives you the same set of plays, including Julius Caesar here after Timon of Athens and before Macbeth. And so if we actually come through to the title page of Julius Caesar, which is just around here, I have to open this very carefully so we don't damage the spine. There we have it.
This is the way they printed prose in these short bits, and this is a verse. It's quite nice.
Yeah, that's a lovely contrast.
You see them right next to each other. It's beautiful.
Is it a fair thing to say that Shakespeare is fixated and fascinated by rhetoric, specifically in this play, David?
Well, one of the things the stage can do that printed page can't is bring history to life in a way that the masses can enjoy. And of course, part of that is the speeches and is the conversations, and it's not just an account of things that happened, but it's actually animating those and making them really exciting, I think. So Shakespeare would have been trained in classical rhetoric at the grammar school in Stratford, and he would have then thought about how he can use that art of persuasion to take a visible event, a spectacular visible event, the assassination of Caesar, into something that we can then debate. We can talk about, was this right or was this wrong, what actually happened here. And it's quite striking in this play that so many different responses to that commonly shared event can take place.
Shakespeare gives key characters moments where they're wielding words as weapons to try and exert power or persuade others around them. Let's take Brutus versus Mark Antony, for instance.
What's interesting about Brutus, and if we focused particularly on his speech to the general populace, is that he speaks in prose. And you can see that he's trying to speak like the common people. He's trying to not be artful. But the way Brutus's mind works, he works in these balanced sentences. And I think that's something we still see in modern political speeches, is that everything's balanced against the other thing. So in fact, it does have an artfulness to it, and it is a splendid speech. Whereas Mark Antony, he speaks in verse. His whole gambit is, I'm not an orator. I don't know how to speak like Brutus. But in fact, his is the most tightly structured.
This is the humility topos. It's that feigned inability, but actually a masterful talent to do the speech.
That's
persuasively.
right.
It is interesting, that idea of being aloof, because you might be tempted to think that Brutus is doing the right thing. He's trying to speak in prose to connect with the general populace, and yet it's almost a little old-fashioned. He's a man outstepped with his time, and Mark Antony understands that, doesn't he, and is able to step off the platform and go down and connect with the general population.
It's one of the interesting things that happens in Shakespeare is that the verse doesn't make it more artificial, it makes it more emotional. And so what Mark Antony understands is what the mob wants is emotion, not reason.
That is so delicious that you've pointed that out, because Julius Caesar understood that as well. He wanted to give the people a good time, give them what they want, and it feels like Mark Antony is picking up right where Julius Caesar has left off. He gives them a show.
That's right. Well, of course, we're at the start of bread and circuses. This is what's going to become the next political wave, is giving people exactly what they want. The Brutus one is really interesting, though, in that the mob, or the general populace listening, they really respond. One line that I think is central to the play is where Citizen 3 yells out to Brutus, "Let him be Caesar." And so we see in that moment that Brutus, in fact, has completely misread where the general population of Rome is at. They want one-man rule. He thinks he's reasoning them, saying, no, you're all slaves if you've got one-man rule. And they say, yes, let him be Caesar. It's almost Monty Python-esque in the way it plays out.
It's a nice contrast too, because we know that they offered the crown to Caesar, but we don't get to see it in the play. We actually hear about it and work out what his reaction might have been. And now Brutus finds himself in that situation, position and we're all eyes on him.
That's right, and I think the line's probably here where they say, crown him, and here comes the way, live, give the statue, let him be Caesar, Caesar's better parts shall be crowned in Brutus.
Yes.
So there it comes right back.
Now, Pete, you've directed Julius Caesar a number of times, but with this upcoming production, your focus is on persuasion. Will you talk to us about why that's of interest to you?
Well, I think language and politics is really interesting, and we live in a very actually politically engaged time. It's famously a play about rhetoric, but when you're making a production, that theatre is an art form of verbs, and that what actors are doing is actually playing actions. And so talking about rhetoric is not that useful. Whereas when we talk about persuasion, then there's something that we can do. And really, I think Shakespeare is fascinated about it. The play is actually a series of two-handers almost all the way through, where one character is trying to persuade another character to do something. And because it's a play about power, it's also a play about ego. And so Cassius plays on Brutus's ego, Decius very humorously plays on Caesar's ego. In fact, Mark Antony plays on the mob's ego. Shakespeare is very astute at showing how people can be swayed if you pander to their egos.
Shakespeare wrote the play in the style of the great orators of ancient Rome.
Let's dive into the text and hear Shakespeare's language in action. We're joined by the 2026 production's Associate Director, Jessica Tovey, as we explore the power of persuasion in some key speeches.
So let's look at one of those moments where we have a character who uses the power of words to really angle somebody to get what they want.
After the assassination, Brutus comes before the citizens of Rome to explain why they've assassinated Caesar.
If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say that Brutus's love to Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demand why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. Had you rather Caesar were living and die all slaves than that Caesar were dead to live all free men? As Caesar loved me, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice at it. As he was valiant, I honour him. But as he was ambitious, I slew him.
So you can see the way the rational mind works. He reduces it to, it's either this or this.
Incredibly logically set out.
Very
this is my
logical.
argument.
So we now jump to Antony. So this is very different to Brutus, but now who is speaking in verse. But I think brilliantly, it's not more artful, the thing that Brutus feared. In fact, I think he sounds even more direct and more plain speaking.
The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it were so, it was a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honourable man, so are they all honourable men, come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honourable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff, yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honourable man.
It's beautiful, isn't it? So he takes a line, I'm praising them, and then he places it next to something Caesar did, which absolutely contradicts it. And by repeating that over and over again, he degrades everything that Brutus and the conspirators have said.
And it's wonderful, the rhythm of that degradation, the way it just chips away, and then suddenly it's in a flood. We're there with Mark Antony. Was he ambitious?
Well, you start to pair the word ambition with Brutus's name, not with Caesar. The way that he kind of sets up the rhythm is that the word ambition falls between these two mentions of Brutus, and you start to kind of look at Brutus in a new light. It's really well done.
It's wonderfully sneaky, isn't it? And yet you go along with it because you can't help but go along with it, the way it's positioned by the rhythm of the text, as you point out.
He's a great politician.
He's a really good politician.
Join us next time in the final episode of our series, where we visit Bell Shakespeare's headquarters at Pier 23 Sydney, where rehearsals for Julius Caesar are underway. Stay Stay tuned for this behind-the-scenes look into the 2026 production.